if you're a working woman between the ages of late 30s to late 50s, you may want to stick around for a couple of minutes to find out how to protect yourself so that what happened to this person who DM'd me on another site doesn't happen to you. Listen, half of the American workforce is comprised of women, and 40% of that cohort is over the age of 45. All women will go through perimenopause and menopause, and some trans men and non-binary people, but all women will experience the symptoms, go through just different degrees of severity, perimenopause and menopause. So, and 1.3 million women a year first start going into and experience the symptoms of menopause. Now look what happened to this woman who DM'd me on another site. She writes, "Your post about perimenopause in the workplace resonates and raises questions about what I've been experiencing in my workplace. I'm 49 and recently able to put the puzzle pieces together that I've been coping with perimenopause symptoms, misdiagnosed as depression last May to June. Meanwhile, I've been placed on a PIP at work for my inability to manage tasks, which I can firmly now say is a result of my symptoms. I've been successful in my career, receiving promotions and stellar reviews. This is the first time in my career mention of and being placed on a PIP came up." Okay? Now, PIP, for those of you who don't know, is a performance improvement plan, and not long after that, she was fired. Why? Because that's what PIPs are for. When you get on a PIP, you're not likely going to resurrect your career. It's just a setup to be fired. Now, why was she unable to manage tasks? She was going through severe symptoms of perimenopause. Brain fog, insomnia, muscle pains. There's numerous symptoms that occur that can interfere with one's optimal performance, right? Now, if this is starting to happen to you, what this person should have done and didn't get a chance to do, so I'm telling you about this, is that if you say to your company that I'm experiencing, it's not that I can't manage tasks, I manage tasks absolutely fine my whole career and here until this happened. And what is this? I am going through this natural life stage adjustment that only happens to women. So it is a sex and age-based, particularly when you're over 40, that's the age at which employees are protected under the age statutes. It's an intersectional protected situation. Based on your sex and your age, you're now having age and gender-based impairments, disabilities. You're entitled to a reasonable accommodation. You're entitled to flexibility. Not so much because it's in the law. Do you know how many companies have menopause in the United States, menopause awareness and menopause absentee policies? Virtually none yet. But isn't that appalling? If men went through andropause the way women go through menopause, forget about it, right? I mean, we wouldn't have this conversation. We'd have andropause retreats paid for by the company, obviously. So here's the thing. Keep this in mind. I know it's nobody's business if you don't want it to be your company's business, but too many women self-exile, leave the workplace, or like this person, get fired because they can't manage tasks effectively through no fault of their own, but this is still protected under law when you put it together and you assert it to your company. This woman had nothing to lose. By the way, when she was on a PIP, if she had had the time and just said, "Excuse me, I shouldn't be put on a PIP. I'm not managing tasks because of this particular impairment that my primary care provider will document," and then they probably would have blinked. They probably would have backed off. And certainly they would have offered her severance if they were firing her to get her to sign a general release of claims. And listen, the upshot here is fighting for your job, fighting for your economic survival, standing up for oneself. It's outrageous in our culture that we're doing all the things that we're doing. We're interfering with everything to do with reproductive rights. Do you know that an abortion, by the way, is a pregnancy-based medical condition that's also entitled to a reasonable accommodation and protection? Now, I typically represent women who are voluntarily pregnant, and they're still getting treated terribly in the workplace. You can't win when you're a woman. You get paid less than men, sexually harassed, objectified, and treated differently from one end of the spectrum, from conception through menopause in the workplace. That's not right. And I'm saying that instead of, this is what happened with pregnancy, by the way, and eventually last year, we finally got a statute that protects pregnant women on a federal level. So just wanted you to all know this and take it under advisement before you get canned for symptoms that are sex and age specific.